We're reviewing a book that starts with a man getting his entire first paycheck stolen by his boss. It's called Balogun, an autobiography by Professor Osaran Imokpai, and my colleagues and I are breaking down his journey today. He went from an 18-year-old clerk being extorted and abused to becoming a top marketing executive and corporate strategist. The book covers his time-transforming companies, getting fired after choosing teaching over a corner office, and his early banking work that funded his Marxian economics thesis. This book is dedicated to his wife, Reverend Dr. Mrs. Emos Osaran Imokpai, and it's a raw look at resilience in Nigerian corporate life.
Chapter 1. You Are Ungrateful. The author narrates his early dehumanizing experiences and how society seemed so unfair. People treated each other like commodities, and dignity felt constantly under threat. Professor Imokpai explains what it meant to be called a Balogun, a title that literally means chief of war. At 18, he got his first job as an education board clerk. A senior colleague named Mr. Oni extorted his first salary and abused him constantly. That experience showed him how corruption and cruelty could become normalized in everyday life. The author also witnessed the worst aspects of society, including sexual harassment and other forms of abuse. But amid those harsh realities, he saw stories of resilience and divine vindication that sustained people. Later in his career at Insight Communications, Jimmy Awosika gave him the nickname Balogun to honor the author's strategic mind. The name reflected his professional, intellectual, and strategic prowess in the advertising world. Over time, Imokpai even found a way to reconcile with advertising icon Bayodun Shabanjo. These experiences, from humiliation to recognition, shaped who Professor Imokpai became and why the name Balogun mattered to him.
Chapter 2, Transformation of Clinsight to Optimum Exposure. This chapter covers the transformation of Clinsight into optimum exposure. The key focus is corporate transformation and strategic vision. The author reproduces a speech he delivered on November 9, 1990. At the time, he served as Group Strategic Planning Director of Troika Holdings. He outlined a strategic blueprint to transform Clinsight from a carpenter and knock-on-wood operation into a professional display corporation. The address emphasized overcoming inflation and adopting modern technology. It also stressed deploying systemic group support and cultivating visionary leadership. The company was subsequently renamed Optimum Exposures to reflect its new direction.
Chapter 3, Sack and Redemption. The chapter examines Professor Imokpai leaving Troika and Gray and his path to redemption. His position at Troika gradually declined after he asked to become managing director of Insight. Bayodun Shabanjo gave him an ultimatum to choose between part-time academic teaching and his role at Troika. Imokpai chose academia and stepped down from his role at Troika. The narrative then backtracks to his recruitment into Insight in 1987 from Unilever. Before that, he had entered the civil service by a random paper lottery draw in 1974. His early life included high academic achievement in the GCE exams. He went on to study at the University of Calabar, where his academic record stood out.
Chapter 4, Barclays Bank and Project. The author worked as a foreign exchange clerk at Barclays Bank in Benin. The author also served as a savings clerk in Ughelli. Those roles taught him meticulous attention to detail and the discipline of daily ledger reconciliation. Through the author's banking access, he gathered data for his university thesis under Professor Escor Tuoyo. The author researched and applied Marxian economics to evaluate how local banks favored the wealthy over the poor. The thesis revealed patterns of preferential services and limited access for lower-income customers. After graduation, the author undertook his NYSC teaching posting in Ikpereshere, Imo State. Following that, he completed a 2-month stint as a Grade 2 auditor in Bendel State, now Edo, and Delta State.
Chapter 5, Guinness and Fertilizers. In 1977, the author worked briefly as a bottling supervisor at Guinness Nigeria Limited. His role put him on the factory floor observing every stage of the bottling line. The process included washing, inspection, filling, capping, and pasteurization. One day, the author drank unpasteurized beer right there on the shop floor and became drunk. He feared he would be fired for his mistake. Instead, his manager, Mr. Enan Amma, forgave him and showed grace rather than anger. That act of forgiveness taught the author a lasting lesson about compassion in leadership.
In Chapter 6, the focus is on Unilever and how corporate entry, internal politics, and marketing warfare shaped careers and products. The author recounts being recruited as a management trainee at Lever Brothers in October 1981. He describes an informal ethnic divide that existed between the marketing divisions at the time. Professor Imokpai's professional growth was guided by mentors such as Seni Ayeola and Tosin Atiwalogun. A central episode was the strategic market warfare to relaunch Omo detergent in northern Nigeria. Their target was to combat PZ Elephant Power brand, which dominated the region. The campaign involved product reformulation to better suit local washing habits and water conditions. They introduced targeted regional packaging that reflected local preferences and identities. Localized consumer promotions were rolled out to connect the brand with everyday shoppers in the north. Combined, these tactics formed a focused marketing offensive that reshaped Omo's presence in northern Nigeria.
Chapter 7, To Be or Not to Be. The key focus is corporate climbing, promotional hurdles, and a later transition to advertising. The author progressed from management trainee to brand manager, handling Key Soap, Sunlight, Vim, and test launching Rin detergent bar. The author later advanced to the role of senior brand manager. An internal interview panel initially resisted the author's promotion. Tosin Atewologun stepped in to intervene on Professor Imokpai. That led to a direct interview with Chairman Dr. Michael Omolayole. Despite strong promotional wins like quadrupling Vim sales, the author decided to leave Unilever in July 1987 to join Insight Communications.
Chapter 8, Years of Magic. Professor Imokpai spent 13 years at Insight Communications, watching it grow into something incredible. The author spent 13 years at Insight Communications, watching it grow into something incredible. By the time the author left, it was doing over 2 billion Naira in turnover. The author transformed Insight from a one-handed, creative-heavy agency into a multi-dimensional force. The author established strategic planning, corporate planning, account planning, and research units. Those new units allowed the team to compete for and win major pitches. The team won pitches for Nestle, Nasco, DHL, and USA. The author also navigated complex boardroom dynamics with Biodun Shabanjo, Jimmy Awosika, Richard Iba, and Kola Ogunda. Those years were a time of rapid growth and strategic expansion at Insight.
Chapter 9, Halogen Security. This chapter focuses on conceptualizing, launching, and managing a private security firm. After an armed attack on Biodun Shabanjo's home, Professor Imokpai was given the task of securing corporate protection. He was asked to build protection for corporate executives and assets. Imokpai leveraged police contacts, including Dig, Parry, Osayande, Musliu, Smith, and Akiolu, to establish credibility. He conceptualized and founded Halogen Security to provide executive and commercial protection. He detailed the operational setup, including procedures, staffing, and field protocols. The author formed technical partnerships with companies, including Coin Security in South Africa. The author had to manage an unjust police arrest that accused them of a fake coup plot. The author eventually left Halogen to return to his independent vision.
Chapter 10, Era of Fortunes and Losses. The focus here is on conglomeration, team building, and tragic losses. The author describes the massive expansion of the Troika ecosystem into multiple spin-offs. Those spin-offs included MC&A, Scamprint, Quadrant, Mediacom, Media Perspective, and Optimum Exposures. The author highlights key executive hires he brought into the group. The narrative reflects on a tragic period marked by the high-profile losses of key corporate executives. Among those lost were Dr. Nwogu Okere and Courage Ogbebor. These events cast a shadow over the company and its leadership. Ultimately, the author moved out of Insight and into Mediacom. This transition led to his final exit from the group.
Chapter 11, The Formation of Perkcom and Partners and Taking on the World. After leaving Troika, Professor Imokpai started his own conglomerate called Perkcom and Partners. He built subsidiary ventures in media, public relations, security, and travel. He appointed Yemi Okumajida as non-executive chairman. The group quickly won high-profile accounts such as Wamco, Tantalizers, MDS, and UPDC. They also forged international partnerships including Young and Rubicam. Despite early success, operational mismanagement and client overconfidence began to hurt the business. The company lost accounts and suffered from growing internal friction. Okumuyide falsely petitioned church leadership against Professor Imokpai and then resigned. These events undermined the firm's stability and reputation.
Chapter 12. Come back home. We are in a deep hole. After losing major accounts like Wamco and UAC, the author faced immediate operational fallout. Professor Imokpai was called back to restructure and salvage the core business operations. The immediate priority was stopping the bleeding and stabilizing day-to-day operations. The author decided to transition away from relying solely on agency revenue. The strategic pivot emphasized manufacturing and product distribution as core growth engines. The author partnered with MDS Warehousing to handle logistics and distribution efficiently. The author launched their own milk brand, Uralat, to capture margin and control the supply chain. The goal was to rescue failing operations while building sustainable, vertically integrated revenue streams.
Chapter 13, Resilient People and Social Equity. Your company could survive a crisis and still collapse. I've been studying Chapter 13 of Professor Imokpai's work on resilient organizations. And here's what most leaders miss. Financial reserves won't save you if your people don't trust the organization anymore. Real resilience comes from nurturing human capital, maintaining equity, and keeping your brand grounded when everything else is shaking. Because when the shock hits, your balance sheet might hold, but your people decide whether you bounce back.
Chapter 14, Divine Help. This chapter examines the role of faith and spiritual intervention in corporate survival. The author focuses on how divine help guided decisions when human strategies failed. The author recounts spiritual interventions that helped avoid business landmines and collapsing deals. Debt challenges threatened the company, yet unexpected doors opened through prayer and faith. Betrayal and ethical dilemmas tested leadership, and spiritual grounding provided clarity. Ethical principles in prayer shaped corporate decision-making in crisis moments. These spiritual strategies open unexpected financial and global opportunities. Ultimately, faith, prayer, and ethics are presented as essential tools for corporate resilience.
Chapter 15, Transition. The author transitioned from a corporate executive to roles in academia, entrepreneurship, and global ministry. The author journey moved from secular corporate management to governance in higher education. The author helped establish a polytechnic and a theological university. The author expanded into international theology and full-scale ministry work. The author took on high-level ecclesiastical leadership responsibilities. The author became general overseer for the Foursquare Gospel Church in the Americas. This chapter chronicles the broad personal and professional transformation of the author.
Chapter 16. Nearly governor or ambassador. The author was once almost appointed to a high public office in Nigeria. The author came close to being nominated for a governorship. Ambassadorial postings were also discussed for the author. Political contacts and offers kept coming over the years. The author missed several public appointments by narrow margins. These brushes with power made the author reflect on statecraft and service. In the end, the author chose entrepreneurship, academia, and global gospel work. The author preferred nonpartisan impact over partisan politics.
I want to use this opportunity to thank all my co-collaborators. This last chapter is titled My Lapo Journey, Chapter 17. The key focus is microfinance governance, board leadership, and social empowerment. Document the author's role and journey with LAPO, known as Lift Above Poverty Organization. Professor Imokpai also describes work with LAPO Microfinance Bank, expanding access to financial services. The author, Professor Osaran Imokpai, outlines his contributions as a board leader and chairman. The author drove improvements in institutional governance and strengthened board practices. The author helped expand financial inclusion for low-income entrepreneurs across Nigeria. Professor Imokpai applied corporate strategic planning to scale microfinance operations nationwide. Core takeaway from this autobiography. Balogun is an indispensable, fast-paced, and brilliant read. It is highly recommended for corporate executives, budding entrepreneurs, and faith leaders who want to learn how to navigate organizational complexity without losing their soul. Get a copy today on Amazon.